Well then, last time with the Monday Night Young Earth Takedown seminar series, we went from geology to biology. Now we're going back to geology. Damn it, Kent, stay consistent. Just tell us what we're going over this week, please.
So, let's talk about Grand Canyon. Did it take millions of years to form?
Well, we did Sedona recently, so why not double up with the Grand Canyon Plateau? Think we'll find Superman? Maybe Thelma and Louise? The Grand Canyon keeps coming up with these guys over and over. It generally comes down to the fact that they don't understand at all how these layers form. I honestly wish they'd just come up with something better. Really. I mean, we did a short about the Grand Canyon. Kent's kid Eric talked about the Great Unconformity, which happened to be in the canyon. In the video on the Sedona Formations, we touched on the canyon. Well, at least this time, after dancing around it like we're doing a ballet, here we go full tilt. And it looks like Kent has a guest this week. I don't care who it is. You shouldn't either. It's Paul Abramson from creationism.com. Ooh. He has a Bachelor of Science in History, which doesn't amount to shit for a topic like this. And according to his bio, well, he's a joke.
This guy's a total disgrace.
If you can't tell, I'm done being the polite type when it comes to these guys. I just want to learn and spread the actual facts while exposing their bullshit for what it is. For example, Kent talking about Kent teaching science and biology. At the time, he had a Bachelor of Religious Education, which is an oxymoron with the emphasis on moron, from an unaccredited school, Midwestern Baptist College. After that is when he taught science in 3 private Baptist schools, one of which he started himself. He's not a teacher. He's a fraud. Just look at his criminal record for verification.
So, let's talk about Grand Canyon. Did it take millions of years to form?
Yes, it absolutely did.
Kids by the millions are visiting this, adults by the millions, and they're all being taught the same thing. It took millions of years to form Grand Canyon.
Yes, sir.
I think that's really sad, and Christians ought to have a common sense response for it.
As long as that common sense response is to tell them to look at the evidence critically, I'm good with it. But not just to say something like Kent does.
Well, I have studied Grand Canyon intently. I've been there many times. Love seeing this big hole in the ground.
And you didn't pay a bit of attention to anything anyone told you about it. I've never been there, but someday I want to get out there. I already have a promise to all of you that at 2,000 subscribers, I will personally head out to see Kent's Dinosaur Adventureland. Like this. For now, we're coming up onto 500, which I'll be doing a 5-hour live stream. It won't be too much longer. I think we're almost at 450. About 450. I think of the making of this video anyway. Who knows? By the time it releases, we'll be doing that live stream. We'll be bringing up people. If you have a fursuit, you can wear it on the stream when we talk. But I'll be answering any religious questions you have or any discussion topics you want to bring up, religious-wise. Anyway, back to Kent. He goes on to describe all the different rock formations in the Grand Canyon, sedimentary rocks that are abundant. Now, rather than go over his 2-minute-long rant, and no shit, he goes on talking about the layers all being sedimentary for 2 entire minutes, while his guest sits there with a smirk on his face as if they have this gotcha moment coming up. He just resolves it to this.
Yeah. It looks to me like everything in there is sedimentary rock.
Yes.
Could that all have been formed in the flood in 1 year?
Yes.
Well, all the layers are sedimentary rock. Could it be all these layers were laid down during 1 year in Noah's flood?
No. The fact that there are different layers of different types of stone means it could not have formed in one singular flood. If it were all the same type of stone, then possibly. But they are vastly different. All of them. Now, we went over the Sedona video with Andrew Snelling while Kent was taking a week off to fail at debating. We didn't really dive too deeply into what the actual layers themselves are and what they're made of. Let's do that now. The formations in Colorado are primarily limestone, sandstone, and shale, but mostly sandstone and limestone. Sandstone is mainly comprised of, shockingly enough, sand. Most of the time it's quartz or feldspar, but can be some other materials like silt and clay. These materials are laid down by rivers or wind and settle into lowlands when stopped by a larger landmass like the Rocky Mountains, making a thicker layer of sand. Either way, the sand builds up, settles down, and the weight of everything on top of it presses down and hardens using more sediment that washes through the sand via rain. So sandstone doesn't need to be settled down by water. It can be settled down by wind, and as well, and that is how several of the layers of the Grand Canyon were laid down. Second, limestone, or calcium carbonate if you want to get all scientific. These are more biological deposits. Kind of easy to understand and see that with the root word carbon in carbonate. Now, limestone forms either as a biological process where marine organisms, and keep in mind, marine does not just mean saltwater, where marine organisms die, their bones and shells break down into the mud. The shells and deposits sink down and compress under the weight of the mud above them, and they cement to form a new layer. The most famous of these is the White Cliffs of Dover, a limestone chalk formation along the English coastline. But limestone can come out of freshwater supplies as well. In essence, anywhere where there are shelled organisms in a body of water, limestone can form. Then there is a non-biological deposit, where calcium is diluted in a body of water, which is almost always fresh water, where the water then evaporates out and leaves the calcium carbonate behind. The last is shale, and it forms similar to limestone at the bottom of lakes and ponds, but it also in salt in river deltas and lagoons. Eventually, the Mississippi River Delta will become a shale deposit in several million years. And that is the biggest issue with Kent's arguments. Shale takes a really, really long time to drive the water out of through pressure. But we have shale above the sandstone and limestone in the Grand Canyon. So right there, it's impossible for the layers seen in the Grand Canyon to have been laid down over the course of 1 year. There's going to be more, but I've been talking for a while now. Kent talks more about sedimentary rock and points out that there's a layer of quartzite that is heated sandstone and is a metamorphic rock with shale under it. That would mean something heated that up to an immensely high temperature. Remember that. It's going to be important later.
Grand Canyon, that little river at the bottom, goes through all these layers of rock. It goes through a whole bunch of sedimentary rock and a whole bunch more sedimentary rock. And one of them down at the bottom, way down there, the diabase sill, is maybe igneous.
Mm-hmm. Wait a second. Wait. Did you see that? Angel, pull up a clip of that close up, please. Oh, would you look at that? The sill is in the middle of the shale layer, which means that sill of igneous rock pushed into that sedimentary layer. On top of that, the quartzite metamorphic layer is on top of the sedimentary layer. What this means is that the sill is what cooked and heated the quartzite as volcanic rock. I also like how he said, maybe igneous. Like he knows this puts a thorn in his paw over his reasoning. I want to ask Kent how that worked in his little flood myth. Lucky for us, he does bring it up.
Mm-hmm. Or metamorphic, been changed. Did they say diabase sill? Igneous, okay. So could it be that during the time of the flood, when the fountains of the deep broke open, some magma was pushing up and made that one layer, and all the rest is sedimentary?
He had to double check. He didn't know that was going to be a part of it. And he had to make it up as he went along. Had to make up the excuse. But still, He failed because he forgot that the sill was inside the sedimentary rock layer. That means the shale had to be pressurized and hardened rock that the magma cracked into, heated the layer that is now metamorphic, and then cooled. If it was still new, the water still in the shale would have actually caused an explosion of steam and blew off the layer above it. So Kent can't be correct. Can we talk about how his buddy there was barely said a word for most of this and just nodded his head and said, "Yup, yup," the whole time?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Back to the talk.
Of course, sir.
We know that many modern, well, the ancient volcanoes, the fountains of the Great Deep, probably had more water in them. Mount St. Helens was largely a steam explosion, right?
Right.
So you can have lava, but there's often much more water and steam. So you could have had early in the flood, as is happening, the fountains of Great Deep are open up. You could have had some metamorphic or other things being expelled from the volcanoes, from the fountains of Great Deep.
Huh. Spoke too soon. But yes, he talked about how the water would cause an explosion, just like Mount St. Helens. But in the next breath, he said it was possible for the volcanic activity to come to the surface in the wet mud during the flood. A contradiction? Ken, you would be much better off not having this guy be with you. He just made you look really bad. One of our channel friends, Claude, should do a short on that little bit of stupid. Or maybe I will, who knows. In the meantime, Ken should really watch these videos. He would learn a lot and refrain from making some mistakes like this one.
Since it's all sedimentary, we know at one time every single one of those layers was soft, mud.
That's right.
Until it hardened. What if, before it all got hardened, while it was all soft mud layers from Noah's flood, the canyon cut through there while it was all soft mud, and now it's hardened since then?
Yes.
I mean, is that even a possibility?
Right.
Okay.
Demon, short answer, please.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no.
So, here. If the layers are soft, that means they will flow easily. Mud flows. Has Kent ever heard of a mudslide? So, here's what would happen in Kent's little stupid hypothetical. If you watch the video on Sedona, you'll know how this goes. If the river starts cutting through soft material, the material will slide in, and it will collapse and slope gently inward. And it will keep carving and carving and carving until we are left with not a canyon, but a gentle sloping valley, a lowland, if you will. All of the layers washed away and never allowed to turn to rock at all. In short, if the land was soft and the Colorado River started flowing through the area, we would not have a canyon, we would have a lowland. Not to mention the canyon plateau is elevated higher than the headwaters, so how the water went uphill is a mystery to anyone in his flood myth.
Wait, what?
Should I explain that now?
Yes.
Fair enough. I'll just be quick about this in case he brings it up later. The canyon goes through a plateau, which is caused by deep underground magma activity that pushed part of the Earth's crust upward very slowly over a long period of time in the millions of years, leaving the Colorado to have fresh new material to cut through over time. Easy.
It's a fact Grand Canyon exists, okay?
And I am sure that Kent did thousands of hours of research to make that statement.
The evolutionists have an interpretation, and the creationists have an interpretation. Evolutionist says it formed slowly by a little bit of water and lots of time. Creationist says, no, it formed quickly by lots of water and a little bit of time.
And the young Earth idiots are wrong. Keep in mind, there is an enormous amount of people that are this level of stupid, but thankfully there's a larger amount of people that are not this level of stupid. Keep coping, Kent.
Here we have a gash that was cut right across this mountain range that formed. Took millions of years to cut that gash.
Sorry. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you think maybe that's a washed out dam?
It might just be. Yeah, it might be that it happened much faster than millions of years.
I think Grand Canyon is just same thing, only lots bigger.
Yes.
Same thing.
Are you fucking serious? Demon, is this nutcase serious?
Yeah, bitch.
How? I mean, there is cope, but that's some fucking cope right there. A dam for what? What is being dammed? You are talking a flood as it recedes. It wouldn't have blocked itself off in some places 1 mile of rock deep. A mile. 1 fucking mile from the top of the plateau to the damn river. And Kent's brilliancy is to say it was like a dam? A dam what? Thousands of miles wide? It would make more sense for the water to fucking go around it or go the other way. How? How, Kent? How can you be this incredibly stupid when it comes to the simple, basic laws of physics in your own failed model? I mean, you have to be some absolute level of dumb
Stop getting hysterical, fatty.
Sorry. You're right. You're right. Just let them be stupid.
Ah, you're stupid, huh? I could work with stupid, daddy likey dummy.
Well, then you can fuck the stupid right out of them.
Here's a topographical map of Arizona. There's Grand Canyon right there. Grand Canyon right there. All the way up and down across Arizona is called the Kaibab Plateau.
Well, that was a pretty fast orgasm.
It's interesting when you fly over it. I've flown over it many times. Flew, gee whiz, like 12 million, 15 million miles on airplanes. I don't know what I got. But you can see it's flat, raised up land. The Kaibab is a plateau, but there's a big gash across it called Grand Canyon.
Aw, Angel didn't want me to say the O word. So, did you notice he said it was raised up? I think he knows what the plateau really is and is getting desperate. This is all to talk about the river flowing downhill through the plateau, which we already talked about earlier here, but we'll let him say a few words first.
The ground slopes up to the top of Grand Canyon, 6,900 to 8,500 feet. The river enters at 2,800 foot, flows downhill from there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's see. The river flows downhill from 2,800, but in between it's 7,000 or 8,000. The top of the canyon is actually higher than the bottom. Did you notice that when you were there?
I heard that. People, said that, yes.
The river only runs through the bottom.
Yes.
Okay? The top is higher than where the river enters the canyon by 4,000 feet. See, for you evolutionists, I'm trying to give you a picture to understand. The top is higher than the bottom.
Which means that the flood couldn't have done it. Because, Kent, if the flood was the cause, the river would have gone around the plateau. It would have taken the path of least resistance and not just gone straight through it. So the fact that the top is higher than the bottom goes well against Kent's mythological flood. But we're going to end this week with, you know what? Angel can only just show you how very little research Kent actually does in these things.
Yeah, in Arizona, that's true, yes.
Yep. And there's no delta.
Holy shit!
I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. Like what you see, pet those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, a little research goes a long way. Let the Fluffy Atheist do it for you.